And it's made for one. It's Mexican pizza.
Mom, we want Cons corn dogs.
Hello, Mum. My peaches and cream, even peachier.
Have you ever wondered the fate of those legendary school cafeteria lunches that once tantalized our taste buds? From the savory classics to the daring culinary experiments, these meals weren't just about sustenance. They were emblematic of a bygone era in school dining. So join us as we reminisce about the 20 school cafeteria lunches that faded into history.
I'm going back to my childhood with one of my all-time favorites, the Sloppy Joe.
Sloppy Joes. Decades ago, Sloppy Joes in school cafeterias were as iconic as chalkboards. Each region had its take on the sauce, giving it a unique flavor. Typically, Sloppy Joes were made from ground beef mixed with a tomato-based sauce served on a soft hamburger bun. While tasty, they weren't exactly the healthiest option due to the high fat content in the beef and the sugar often found in the sauce. Despite this, they were a favorite among students for their messy, comforting appeal. The Sloppy Joe may have been invented in Iowa. A cook named Joe in Sioux City reportedly began seasoning loose meat sandwiches with tomato sauce, making them sloppier and saucier. Loose meat had been on Iowa cafe menus since the 1920s, and Joe's version likely appeared in the 1930s. While it's nice to imagine that the cook behind the sandwich was actually named Joe, there's a possibility that an actual Joe never existed. Prices vary depending on location and period, but they were generally an affordable option for school lunches, often costing around $1 or less. As the aroma of Sloppy Joes filled the school cafeteria, students eagerly lined up for a taste of the iconic dish. But amidst the hustle and bustle of lunchtime, would today's rectangular pizza slice provide the same nostalgic satisfaction as those sloppy sauce-drenched buns of yesteryear? Rectangular pizza. Rectangular pizza was a beloved school cafeteria classic, cherished for its iconic shape that snugly fit on cafeteria trays. Typically made from a thick crust topped with tomato sauce and cheese, it was an easy and quick meal for cafeteria staff to prepare in large quantities. While delicious, its healthiness was questionable, with concerns about the processed ingredients and high levels of sodium and fat. Notwithstanding this, students couldn't resist its cheesy goodness. Prices varied depending on the region and period, but it was usually an affordable option, costing around $1 or $2 a slice. Rectangular pizza may have faded into history, but its memory still brings nostalgia to many who enjoyed it during their school days. Yeast rolls with butter. Yeast rolls with butter were a comforting treat in school cafeterias, adored for their soft, fluffy texture and warm, buttery taste. These rolls were typically made from a yeast-based dough, which gave them their light and airy quality. They were often served fresh out of the oven, enhancing their appeal. While they weren't the healthiest option due to their high carbohydrate and fat content, they were a favorite indulgence among students. Prices for yeast rolls with butter were relatively low, usually costing around 50 cents to $1 per roll. In spite of fading from school cafeteria menus over the years, the memory of these delectable rolls lives on in the hearts of those who enjoyed them during their school days. Students savor the nostalgia of yeast rolls with butter, but amidst the cafeteria favorites, what memories do fish sticks evoke for those who frequented school lunch lines?
That's why we created new Gorton's microwave crunchy fish sticks and fillets.
Fish sticks. Fish sticks were a common sight in school cafeterias, especially on Fridays when many schools observed meatless options. These breaded and fried fish fillets were usually made from white fish like cod or pollock, coated in breadcrumbs for a crispy texture. While they provided a source of protein, they were often considered less healthy due to the frying process and the added breading. However, they were a convenient and tasty option for students. Prices for fish sticks varied depending on location and quality, but they were generally affordable, typically costing around $1 or $2 per serving. Despite their popularity in the past, fish sticks have faded away from many school lunch menus, but they remain a nostalgic memory for those who enjoyed them.
Why is Goulburn Belly the best tasting fruit in a can?
Peach slices. Peach slices were a simple yet delightful addition to school cafeteria lunches, offering a sweet and refreshing option for students. They could be served either canned or fresh, depending on availability and season. Canned peach slices were typically packed in syrup, adding extra sweetness, while fresh slices provided a crisp and natural flavor. While fresh peach slices offered some nutritional benefits, canned varieties often contained added sugars, reducing their healthiness. In spite of this, they were a popular choice among students for their delicious taste. Prices for peach slices varied depending on whether they were fresh or canned in the season, but they were generally an affordable option, usually costing around 50 cents to $1 per serving. Although they faded away from many school lunch menus, peach slices remain a nostalgic memory for those who enjoyed them during their school days. Now, imagine pairing them with a nutritious Popeye salad inspired by the spinach-loving cartoon character. But did you ever wonder how these two childhood favorites influence your taste buds and memories? Popeye salad. Popeye salad was a clever nod to the famous cartoon character known for his love of spinach. This salad typically consisted of fresh spinach leaves, sometimes mixed with other vegetables like tomatoes, cucumbers, and carrots. It was often served with a choice of dressing, such as ranch or vinaigrette. Spinach was highlighted as a source of strength, just like Popeye himself, promoting its health benefits to students. Generally, Popeye salad was considered a healthy option, packed with vitamins and nutrients. Prices for Popeye salad varied depending on the ingredients and dressing choices, but were typically affordable, usually costing around $1 to $2 per serving. While Popeye salad may have faded from school cafeteria menus, its association with the iconic cartoon character remains a fun memory for many. Half-pint cartons of milk. Half-pint cartons of milk were a staple beverage in school cafeterias, often served with every meal. These small cartons contained either plain or flavored milk, such as chocolate or strawberry, providing students with a variety of options to choose from. The milk was usually pasteurized and homogenized, ensuring its safety and quality. Although plain milk offered essential nutrients like calcium and vitamin D, flavored varieties often contained added sugars, making them less healthy. Prices for half-pint cartons of milk varied depending on the type and flavor, but were generally affordable, typically costing around a quarter to 50 cents per carton. Notwithstanding their ubiquity in the past, half-pint cartons of milk have faded from many school lunch menus, but they remain a nostalgic symbol of school days for many. Students reminisce about the days of sipping on half-pint cartons of milk. However, one other classic cafeteria staples like beef macaroni have stood the test of time, offering both comfort and nostalgia. Beef macaroni. Beef macaroni was a comforting and filling dish often found in school cafeteria menus. It was made by combining cooked macaroni pasta with seasoned ground beef and a savory tomato-based sauce. The concept of pasta and cheese dates back centuries. In the 1420s, King Richard II's master chefs compiled a manuscript called the Form of Cury, which featured a recipe for a dish called macarons. This early recipe is remarkably similar to the mac and cheese we know today, making it one of the earliest published recipes for this beloved comfort food. The ground beef added protein to the dish, while the macaroni provided carbohydrates, making it a satisfying meal for students. While beef macaroni was tasty and popular among students, it wasn't always considered the healthiest option due to the beef's high-fat content and the sauce's processed nature. Prices for beef macaroni varied depending on location and quality, but were generally affordable, typically costing around $1 or $2 per serving. In spite of its disappearance from many school lunch menus, beef macaroni remains a nostalgic favorite for those who enjoyed it during their school days.
A double-decker bologna sandwich!
Bologna sandwiches. Bologna sandwiches were once a common sight in school cafeterias, featuring slices of bologna sandwiched between two pieces of bread. To make them, cafeteria staff would typically place a slice or two of bologna on a slice of bread, sometimes adding condiments like mustard or mayonnaise, before topping it with another slice of bread. Though bologna sandwiches were a convenient and affordable option, they weren't always considered the healthiest choice due to the high sodium and fat content in bologna. Different regions of the United States have their own unique takes on the bologna sandwich. For example, in the Midwest, it's common to find bologna sandwiches served with mustard and pickles, while in the South, they might be paired with mayonnaise and sweet pickles. Prices for bologna sandwiches varied depending on the quality of ingredients and portion size, but were generally low, typically costing around $1 to $2 each. As kids savored the bologna sandwiches, would another childhood favorite, the Jell-O salad, hold the same colorful charm and sweet nostalgia, or was there more to its story?
Instead, I made some fun.
Jell-O salads. Jell-O salads were a vibrant addition to school cafeteria menus, featuring colorful gelatin mixed with a variety of ingredients like fruits, vegetables, and sometimes even cottage cheese. They were typically made by preparing flavored gelatin according to package instructions and then adding chopped-in fruits, vegetables, or other mix-ins before allowing it to set. While visually appealing and often enjoyed by students for their sweetness, Jell-O salads weren't always the healthiest option. Peter Cooper invented Jell-O, but it was his wife, May, who came up with the name for this gelatin dessert. Interestingly, Cooper initially struggled to advertise his product due to financial constraints. He eventually sold the business to orator Frank Woodward, who successfully turned Jell-O into a household name. Depending on the ingredients used, they could contain added sugars and artificial flavors. Prices for Jell-O salads varied depending on the ingredients and size, but were generally affordable, typically costing around 50 cents to $1 per serving.
There's a great new taste you can't put down. Concord dogs, they just hit town.
Corn dogs. Corn dogs were a beloved treat in school cafeterias, consisting of a hot dog on a stick coated in a thick layer of cornmeal batter and then deep fried to golden perfection. While undeniably delicious and popular among students for their convenient handheld nature, corn dogs were not the healthiest option. They were high in calories, fat, and sodium, which led to their decline in school lunch menus with the rise of healthier eating initiatives. Prices for corn dogs varied depending on location and quality, but were generally affordable, typically costing around $1 to $2 each. Nonetheless, corn dogs remain a nostalgic favorite for many who enjoyed them during their school years. But amidst the shift towards healthier eating, did vegetable soup with saltine crackers emerge as the new favorite, offering both comfort and nutrition. Vegetable soup with saltine crackers. Vegetable soup with saltine crackers was a comforting option often served in school cafeterias, especially during the colder months. The soup was typically made by simmering a variety of vegetables like carrots, celery, potatoes, and onions in a flavorful broth until tender. Sometimes additional ingredients like beans or pasta were included for extra heartiness. Saltine crackers were served alongside the soup to add a crunchy texture and a touch of saltiness. Vegetable soup was considered a healthy option, providing a good source of vitamins and minerals from the vegetables and broth. Prices for vegetable soup with saltine crackers varied depending on the ingredients used and the portion size, but were generally affordable, typically costing around $1 to $2 per serving. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were once a ubiquitous lunch item in school cafeterias, loved for their simplicity and delicious taste. Made by spreading peanut butter and jelly between two slices of bread, they were a quick and easy option for both students and cafeteria staff. However, as concerns about peanut allergies became more prominent, the prevalence of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in school lunches declined. While they were generally considered a tasty and satisfying choice, they weren't always the healthiest option due to the high sugar content in the jelly and the potential for added sugars in the commercial peanut butter. Prices for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches varied depending on the ingredients used, but were usually affordable, typically costing around $1 to $2 each.
Hey, Speedy, remember the Mexican pizza from Pizza Hut?
Mexican pizza. Mexican pizza was a flavorful twist on the classic pizza often found in school cafeterias. It was typically made by layering a tortilla with toppings like seasoned ground beef, salsa, and cheddar cheese, creating a fusion of Mexican and Italian flavors. The Mexican pizza, originally called the Pizzazz Pizza, is a menu item at the U.S.-based chain Taco Bell. It consists of 2 tortillas with a filling of seasoned beef and refried beans, topped with tomato sauce, 3 cheeses, and diced tomatoes. The item was introduced in 1985 as the Pizzazz Pizza, and its original recipe included olives and green onions. However, it was later renamed Mexican Pizza in 1988. While undeniably delicious, Mexican pizza was not always the healthiest option due to the potential for high levels of saturated fat and sodium in the cheese and ground beef. Prices for Mexican pizza varied depending on the ingredients and portion size, but were generally affordable, typically costing around $1 or $2 per serving. Despite its fading presence in school cafeteria menus, Mexican pizza remains a tasty and memorable dish for those who enjoyed it during their school days. As students savor the nostalgic taste of Mexican pizza in school cafeterias, did anyone ever face the dilemma of choosing between a slice of Mexican pizza and a serving of creamy tapioca pudding? Tapioca pudding. Tapioca pudding was a creamy and sweet dessert enjoyed in school cafeterias, featuring distinctive tapioca pearls suspended in a velvety pudding base. It was typically made by simmering tapioca pearls in milk until they became soft and translucent, then sweetened with sugar and sometimes flavored with vanilla or other extracts. While tapioca pudding was appreciated for its unique texture and comforting flavor, it wasn't always considered the healthiest option due to its high sugar and fat content. Prices for tapioca pudding varied depending on portion size and quality, but were generally affordable, typically costing around 50 cents to $1 per serving.
Even kids with chicken pox love hot dogs.
Boiled hot dogs. Boiled hot dogs were a classic option in school cafeterias before grilling or steaming gained popularity. They were made by submerging hot dogs in boiling water until they were fully cooked. Although this method was simple and efficient for preparing large quantities of hot dogs, it often resulted in a softer texture compared to grilling or steaming. In terms of healthiness, boiled hot dogs were similar to other methods of cooking, with their nutritional value depending mainly on the quality of the hot dogs themselves. Prices for boiled hot dogs varied depending on the location and quality, but were generally affordable, typically costing around $1 or $2 each. In spite of fading from school lunch menus, boiled hot dogs remain a nostalgic memory for many who enjoyed them during their school days.
Spamburger hamburger.
Oh, I see. You cut it.
Spam burgers. Spam burgers was a budget-friendly option in school cafeterias, featuring Spam, a canned meat product, as the main ingredient. To make Spam burgers, slices of Spam were typically pan-fried or grilled until crispy and then served on a bun with toppings like lettuce, tomato, and cheese. While Spam burgers were tasty and convenient, they weren't always considered the healthiest choice due to their high sodium and fat content. However, they did provide a good source of protein. Spam is a brand of processed canned pork and ham made by Hormel Foods Corporation. It was introduced in 1937 and gained popularity worldwide, especially during World War II, when it became a staple for troops due to its non-perishable nature. Prices for Spam burgers were generally low, reflecting the affordability of Spam as an ingredient, and typically range from $1 to $2 each. Notwithstanding their disappearance from school lunch menus, Spam burgers remain a nostalgic dish for those who enjoyed them during their school days.
This is the Frito pie. As American as apple pie.
Frito pie. Frito pie was a beloved indulgence in school cafeterias, featuring Fritos corn chips topped with chili and cheese, all served conveniently in the chip bag itself. To make Frito pie, cafeteria staff would open individual bags of Fritos, then ladle chili over the chips and sprinkle shredded cheese on top. The bag would then be closed and served piping hot to eager students. While undeniably tasty and satisfying, Frito pie was not the healthiest option, often containing high levels of sodium, fat, and calories. Prices for Frito pie vary depending on location and portion size, but were generally affordable, typically costing around $2 to $3 per serving. Students savored their indulgent Frito pie lunches. Would the cafeteria ever swap out this beloved dish for a healthier alternative? Perhaps a nutritious twist on another classic comfort food like tuna noodle casserole.
You made just when you're over. To get the recipe for our good old tuna noodle casserole.
Tuna noodle casserole. Tuna noodle casserole was a comforting and filling dish commonly found in school cafeteria menus. It was made by combining cooked egg noodles with canned tuna and a creamy sauce, typically made from ingredients like cream of mushroom soup or mayonnaise. Additional ingredients like peas, onions, or cheese were included for extra flavor. To add a crunchy texture, the casserole was often topped with crushed potato chips before baking. Though tuna noodle casserole was hearty and satisfying, it wasn't always considered the healthiest option due to the potential for high levels of sodium and fat in the creamy sauce and potato chip topping. Prices for tuna noodle casserole varied depending on portion size and quality, but were generally affordable, typically costing around $1 or $2 per serving.
Pierre, tonight we're making Salisbury steak. I'm going to show you exactly how I make it.
Salisbury steak with gravy. Salisbury steak with gravy was a classic comfort food served in school cafeterias, often masquerading as a fancier dish. It was made by forming ground beef into oval-shaped patties, similar to hamburgers, and then pan-frying or baking them until cooked through. The patties were then smothered in a savory gravy made from beef broth and seasonings. Salisbury steak with gravy was flavorful and satisfying, but it wasn't always the healthiest option due to its high fat content from the ground beef and gravy. The prices for Salisbury steak with gravy varied depending on the quality and portion size, but were generally affordable, typically costing around $2 to $3 per serving. In spite of its fading presence on school lunch menus, Salisbury steak with gravy remains a nostalgic favorite for many who enjoyed it during their school days.